TibiusSoft tutorial on how to export from Maya into ZBrush and back. We're going to start off by going into Maya. Inside Maya here, I'm just going to go ahead and create a basic polygon cube by holding down Shift and right clicking, moving down until I come to polygon cube. Go ahead and bring that onto the canvas. And go ahead and zoom in, and we're going to just go over here to our channel box, go to the subdivision width, add one subdivision length in there so it's 2, go to subdivision height, do 2 for that one as well, and I'm just going to stretch it out to about there. Alright, so we're going to have a polygon cube now, and now our next step is from here to go to File, we're going to go to Window, make sure that we have our OBJ export on from the Settings Preferences to Plugin Manager. Inside here you're going to look for the MLL file for OBJ export, which should be down towards the middle of your list. Here we are, obj export.mll, and you're going to make sure that's loaded, and then click auto load as well, so that the next time you open Maya it'll already be loaded. So just go ahead and make sure those are checked, hit close, go up here to File, making sure you have your objects selected that you want to export. Go down here to Export Selection, choose the Options box. In here, we normally have these options available to us, but now that we've hit that plugin, we can go to OBJ Export. Go ahead and select that. Go down to the bottom, and be sure that all these radio buttons are turned off. They seem to be more problematic than they are helpful. Once that's all done, go here to Export Selection, click the button. It'll bring up a dialog box where we can then save it to wherever we'd like. I'm going to save it underneath the project folder I currently have set up for it already, under Project, and we're going to go to Data. I'll just save it as OBJ Export Test 001. Hit Export, and it's now exported out. Now the next step we're going to do from here, minimize Maya. We're going to go ahead and open up ZBrush. With ZBrush open, you normally will end up coming to the startup script, which will give you an option of different things that you're allowed to pick from, such as import object file, which is the OBJ we just created, or you can end up loading a tool. But just hit escape when you open that up, and we'll just come in here to our basic view. In here, if you left the factory presets as your customized window, you'll see that you have the tool window here. If you don't have this window here, we'll just go up here to Tool underneath the File menu and click this little power button. I'll zoom it over here to the side and dock it to the sidebar. Clicking Import 3D Mesh, that'll then allow you to pick your OBJ file that you currently have created from Maya. Go ahead, select that, hit Open, and notice now that we've brought it in, and it now becomes a tool that's available to us over here in the window. I'm going to go ahead and draw that to canvas. You notice though that if I continue to draw to canvas, I end up creating a bunch more, and we don't really want that. So you're just going to go ahead and hit Control N. And now what we're going to do instead is you draw it to canvas once. You're going to go up here and click this little edit button, or you can hit the T on your keyboard and that'll bring it in as well. You'll notice now that we have this white border that seems to appear around the edge. With that, that means that we can now rotate in 3-dimensional space and edit this object as if it was a 3D model. ZBrush is a 2.5 editing program, which means that it retains depth, but the issue is that until you go into this edit mode, you don't really have the ability to use the sculpting attributes on a 3D object until it's obviously within this mode. Alright, so now that we're once inside this, you'll then notice that we have retained our original edges that we created in here. And the reason why we created some extra edge resolution in here is so that I can show you the difference between having good topology when you import into Maya, or import from Maya into ZBrush. So we're just going to go ahead and go to Geometry, turning off Smooth Modifier. We're going to hit Divide a few times, and that'll let us bump up our resolution. And as you can see, we have some resolution. And already you can kind of tell the issue that we're going to run in here. As you can tell inside here, when you subdivide in ZBrush, it divides both horizontally and vertically, which means that a square ends up getting divided once through vertically and horizontally at the middle, and you end up getting 4 squares out of 1 square. So what we have here is some nice resolution that's been given to us. But if you notice over here that the polygons, since we didn't have an additional line here to start with, they are all totally elongated and are going to be really poor for our topology here in the end. So I'm also going to show you real quick though, when you first import your OBJ, what you're going to make sure you do is go down here to Morph Target underneath Tool and do Store Morph Target. The reason why we do this is that, say you have an animator who's currently working on the Maya project file that was already created, that was given to you as the ZBrush artist. They're going to be working on rigging and getting that model that's currently already created set up. And we don't want to go into ZBrush here and totally tweak this model out and end up causing it to not be compatible by just exporting the normal maps over, because they're already currently working on a model that will have some changes to its silhouette done as you end up doing some ZBrush editing. So by giving it stored morph target, we can, once we're done with all of our edits, come back down here to the lowest subdivision level and switch it back to the original morph target, and then have the normal map changes that we did originally on the higher division level applied down to this unaltered version. Alright, so we're going to go back up to our fourth division, and we're going to turn off subdivision, and then we're going to give it a different material so you can kind of see the difference here. Just go ahead and choose white cavity. Alright, lowering my draw size, you can see here that I'm drawing in. Actually, let's bump up a few more so we can see some good resolution in here. Alright, so we've subdivided quite a bit now, and as you can see, I'm getting some nice smooth ZBrush sculpting in there, and that looks really well done. You can barely see any of the faceting of the polygons. But if I was to come over here to this side, and you can see now that this has a lot of polygons in it because its topology is relatively uniform. Over here though, on the other hand, we have elongated polygons, and you'll notice now that when I draw, that I'm getting very faceted edges to my sculpt. This is not ideal. So when you're exporting out your object from Maya, do remember that it's good to have make sure you have uniform topology across the entire thing. So for instance, in order to do that, it would be easy in Maya to take the edge loop tool and just create some edge loops that are even to this face over here, and then that'll end up allowing you to have better topology when you're actually in it and sculpting and making sure you have enough resolution in the areas that you need to put some good resolution into.